Hi, I'm Stacey Hyde with Envision Financial Planning, and we're back for another episode of Better Financial Health in 15 minutes or less. You may have heard that Secure Act 2.0 was recently announced, and it had a lot of information in it. Some we're still not quite sure how it's going to be implemented, but one thing is for certain: if you or you've got parents or grandparents that turned 72 this year and they thought that they were going to be subject to required minimum distributions, meaning they were going to be required to take money out of their traditional IRA accounts, they got a reprieve. No one has to initiate required minimum distributions this year because they hit age 72. It actually was moved up to age 73, and so that will start next year. And then over time, it will actually increase to age 75. One thing that we were afraid that was going to be taken out of the ability for people to do if you made too much money and were not able to directly contribute to a Roth IRA. Some people would do what's known as a backdoor Roth IRA. They would make a non-deductible contribution to a traditional IRA and then convert it to a Roth IRA 30, 60, 90 days later. There was some talk that that ability was going to go away. It is not, so that is still a viable option if you earn too much money to contribute directly. Keep in mind though that if you have available a 401k or a 403b through your workplace and you have the ability to make Roth contributions, there is no income limit on those contributions, so you can contribute up to the maximum amount. The maximum amount this year, if you are under 50, is $22,500. If you're over 50 or turn 50 this year, it jumps to $30,000. So if you're not contributing the maximum and you've got a good 401k through your employer with some matching reasonable cost investment options, I would tell you there's no reason to go outside of that until you've kind of maxed that out, because there's some advantages that you get through your employer 401k. The first being the asset protection that is available. It's basically protected against creditors. The other thing that is available to you through that, in many cases, not all, is the ability to get a loan should you need access to your money prior to retirement for buying a house, kids' college, that sort of thing. You definitely should not look at your 401k as a piggy bank. It really needs to be the lender of last resort, but it is nice that it has that option. So that is one thing that came about with the Secure Act. And in future years, interestingly enough, highly compensated individuals are going to be required to make their catch-up contributions, so that $7,500 additional money that's available for folks to make, those are going to have to go into Roth contributions if you're highly compensated. So that's going to change that calculation for a lot of people. There's also going to be some additional enhanced catch-up contributions for people 60 and over, but those are all they're not effective this year, and I'm sure you'll be hearing more and more about them as we get closer to the end of the year and the effective date. But I did want to put that out there. Also, one other thing that has not changed is if you or someone else is turning 70 and a half this year. You may recall that that used to be the age when you had to start taking distributions from your retirement account. It's now 73, starting next year, or for anybody that turned 72 this year, it's 73. If you were already subject to required minimum distributions, nothing changes. You just continue on your same schedule. But there's still a good thing that's available to you if you're 70 and a half, and that's the ability to make charitable distributions from your IRA directly to a charity and not have to count those distributions in your income. They still satisfy your required minimum distribution if you're old enough to be subject to those, but you don't have to pay income tax or worry about it increasing your Medicare premiums for those contributions. So that can be really valuable, especially now that the standard deduction is so much higher than it used to be. It's almost $30,000 for people over 65 now, a married couple. So to be able to take that standard deduction and then give $5,000 out of your IRA and not pay tax on that money, that's some pretty powerful tax leverage there. So those are just a few of the items, and we'll be doing a more deep dive into this as we get more clarification and as the year goes on. But I wanted to go ahead and point those out to you early in the year for planning purposes. Thanks for tuning in. This has been another episode of Better Financial Health in 15 Minutes or Less. I'm Stacey Hyde.